Hi there everyone, it is Iron Drac. Gonna start off this video right. It's actually a tonic water. I'm having me some cheap whiskey tonight actually, so I need something to go with it. Ginger ale would be better, but I don't have any ginger ale right now, so tonic will do. Alright, give me a second here. Alright. Cheers. Alright. As an involuntary celibate, I think it is important for any involuntary celibate to understand their worth. They must know their own worth. There are many reasons why people might be involuntary celibates. I'm not going to talk about them because I don't know them. I know myself. And, I could rattle off all the accomplishments I've done. Where to begin? For starters, I've challenged the status quo. There's an underlying accepted version of reality by mainstream society. I challenged it. And I don't believe I'm wrong. At least I've definitely not heard any words to the contrary on most of the things I've talked about. I questioned the Aaron Driver incident that happened a couple years back. I talked about Big Pharma, how to get back at them. I've made numerous videos about mental health, not talking about anything specifically really, but, sort of thinking out loud type of things. But I did say that I believe it is their plan to destroy alcohol, and, the morality of why it would be a good thing to destroy alcohol, and how we can wean society off of it, and blah, 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 blah. I made videos debunking that because you ain't stopping alcohol. And, tough luck. That's too bad. I'm sure you worked very hard on your plan, but it's not going to work. And I'll expose it. As I said, I have no incentive to keep anything like that, to myself. I'll tell people about it. What other videos did I make? Oh, I debunked 9/11. Big time debunked it. Definitely doesn't go along with mainstream narrative. That includes the internet. People think that they're two separate things. They're not. It's all part of the same box of bullshit. Okay. So there was those things. I did talk about Vince Lai, the man who decapitated a fellow on a Greyhound bus, and the tragedy that happened there. I talked about the Humboldt Broncos crash and how I believed that the person responsible donated organs in order to ascertain a lesser sentence. And, obviously that's a rabbit hole on its own. How somebody could, do something like that and get off easier if they contribute something to society they otherwise would not have done. I've mocked the medical industry numerous times. I happen to be status native. I have a house. I'm actually not bad looking from certain angles. I'm not perfect. I'm trying to work on that. I was abused by mental health, though, for a very, very long time. Well, I was with mental health for 10 years now, but 7 of those years they were heavily abusing me. And I remember the doctor who did it, because by coincidence, I have her card. And I remember what she looks like, too. Wouldn't matter anyway. I know so much about them and what they're trying to do because, I see them on the social media and the way they talk. And, Sure, there are times where I'm drunk and I'm a bit of an asshole, but you're allowed to be drunk and a bit of an asshole. That's not illegal. But they're always trying to goat me into saying something. And it's like, no, I don't think like you do. I know you would want me to, but that's not me. So you're going to have to live with that. And I mean, I'll comfortably live with that, but, I could be a little more comfortable. You know what I mean? And this whole, no women scenario, I uncovered the problem with that in the early stages of being reintroduced into society, and it'll be different for different people. You can actually reject women. Now, I'm going to explain to you why. They'll try to keep everything as vague as possible, and you're only going to get like 5 minutes of attention anyway. I know touching some a buttocks or some tits would be nice. And, actually, men still in their package have, value to them. Whereas a guy who's been with 20 other women and, has commitments otherwise, they don't have that same kind of value to them, do they? They sort of lose that. It's kind of like, a pair of jockeys that's been worn for about 6 months. Yeah, it doesn't hold the same value, does it, as a fresh one out of the package. Yeah, so there's that. But it's okay to reject women if you can look into their soul and see what kind of a person it is, because their interpretation of you and what they want to believe will be reverberated. It will expand into a larger circle, and the truth that is you will become diluted by their corruption. And what I mean by that is, like, there are some things that some women stand for that are absolutely intolerable. Like, as a fellow like myself, if a woman shows up and she's got, like, pink or blue hair or something like that, or horrible piercings on her face, or, like in other videos I said I wouldn't go with a black woman or an Asian woman, most certainly not right away anyway, it says something about you if you go with one. I mean, I know times are tough and, but they want you to, go for it and fail. And then that's a point in their book. And like I said, even if you get to the next stage by being friendly, nice guy, talking to them and all that sort of stuff, they want to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. You might only get 5 minutes worth of attention, but that may be enough because they've fine-tuned it to such a point where they can turn around and whatever their opinion is, they'll say, well, said involuntary celibate doesn't know this, doesn't know that. Take me 5 minutes to explain that to them, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I'm not even going to dignify you with an answer. I mean, like I said, it'd obviously be nice to get to actually touch a woman. But the timing has to be right, and it has to be the right woman. And it's worth waiting a little bit longer to put up with that. I mean, unfortunately, it's, if it had been up to me, it had been years ago, I would have been having normal relationships. But obviously that didn't turn out the way I'd like. The time will come, though. The only thing I'm concerned about is people use what other evil there is in the world as justification for being assholes to people. Like they'll go, well, you some starving kid in Nairobi, you must have a better life. You're talking about your accomplishments. What do I care if you're involuntary celibate? What do I care if you've had a sore throat for 7 years? You don't have to care, asshole. But, karma catches up with everyone. And every single type of person who has tried to do me wrong, in the end, will get their karma one way or another. Something will happen. I don't even have to do anything at all. Um, and I was harshing on black chicks, and I was harshing on Asian chicks. Um, Aesthetically, Asian chicks typically tend to be better looking than black chicks. It's the honest truth. If a black chick doesn't have some white in her, she's not actually very attractive, if you want my opinion. Um, However, it is justified because of the political climate. Um, they like a bunch of things that I don't like. And there are a lot of white women out there that like a bunch of things that I don't like. And I'm not going to trade my values in to accommodate their ridiculousness. It's not happening. If there's something about them that I don't like, they're going to know about it. And I'm not going to be coaxed into this way of thinking where they deny anything ever happened and that all of my theories are wrong without explaining to me why they're wrong until it gets to the point where it doesn't matter what my opinions are. No, I know what happened. You can pretend it didn't happen all you want, but I know what happened towards me. I didn't do anything. People are simply assholes and they're predisposed to believing nasty things about people if somebody, tells them that they are this, they're that, because people are assholes, in fact. And their retort is usually to turn around and call you the one, even though they don't have any proof of it, and it becomes your word versus theirs, and they don't even need any proof, because other people want to believe what they have to say. And that doesn't make any sense. How does that become the fucking truth? In a normal, perfect world, it wouldn't make the fucking truth, but because we live in a sanctimonious, fucking bullshit, lying, neurotic atmosphere of phony, pretentious, bogus people. That is how truth becomes reality. Is when people start saying something loud enough for a long enough period of time, it becomes the truth whether it is or it isn't. Because that's what people want to believe. And the media is everything to blame with this. As soon as you are labeled something, and, through the generations, what you were labeled has differed in what people think of you, and what they're trying to do is change the mindset of what the general public thinks and how they think and why they think. And unfortunately, they're trying to control the evolution of the human race in a direction that you hear it out loud and you go, you think that? How about go suck a prickly cactus? Because we're not doing it your way. And, there's so many different philosophies out there in the world, and they're not necessarily wrong, although most of them are, that want to be the dominant say. And unfortunately, because they're inadequate, they don't deserve a dominant say in what goes on. And this mental freak show that's going on out there, somebody has to be a voice of reason. Because I'm definitely not seeing that when I see regular media and other news outlets. It's insanity. That's all it is. The normalcy is gone. And, a lot of the decency and dignity went with it. I mean, it's difficult to say because people label people and they'll take one look at me and everything I've accomplished and everything I say that I'm interested in as, these are hobbies, subjects of interest for me. People will try to rope that in with other people's philosophies for some mental reason and then go, well, if you were more informed and you had your notes together and everything, this is what you would think. Excuse me, you don't tell me what I think. I think what I think, and you put up with it. Because there's a lot of people who go, oh, you gotta do this. Oh, this is the way. No, 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 no. I don't have to think the way you tell me to think. I don't need you at all. And, getting back to, not being able to have regular relations with women, there are situations where good women are going to do things that you're not going to like. And, that's an unfortunate reality. However, if you demonstrate that there are consequences for bad decision making, and I don't even mean anything, from a certain perspective that's negative. You don't have to get angry with them. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do anything. You move on. You go somewhere else. And, women have it in their heads that they can mess around with guys, and that when they offer, their way of sort of sweetening up the deal when it comes to dealing with you, that, what they offer, which is minuscule in comparison to what they've been up to, somehow that makes everything fair. It's like, if they've been with a bunch of people you don't like, and then they go, well, here, I have a black friend I would like you to meet. It's like, that actually doesn't make things even at all. In fact, I would rather go out with a chick that's almost like you in every way. So that you really do feel that burning itch of jealousy and resentment. Because they know I'm not interested in going with a black chick long term or an Asian chick long term. Not in that atmosphere, not a chance. And that would be a mean thing for me to do, but it's would be an appropriate thing, because I'm gonna live my life the way I want to live it, and I'm not gonna be someone pushed around, bullied, someone who they want to pretend likes being abused, because there's people that like being abused out there for some screwed up reason. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to me. But these are all hypotheticals. I have to try and figure out scenarios in my head with very little physical evidence, but a lot of, things that are reality, and how those expand in certain directions, and, everything that has to do with, in the sense that, you gotta think outside your limitations. And some of the most educated people in the world didn't go to a building that was square and told them how to think. Because not only did it tell them how to think, it told them how not to think. And when you're told how not to think, you close doors and windows of perception. And then you're unable to solve problems. And as people get older, when they have these limitations, they become more embedded, more problematic. And, they're unable to solve new problems. And this is how people, tend to lose their marbles when they get older. Is because, whatever function they served in life, as they get older, they retire from their job, they break up with their spouse, whatever. They lose what they know, and gradually they start losing more and more of it, and then it gets to the point where it's all a blur. I don't know, people go, well, you drink alcohol, what do you do every night? You go into a blur, don't you? That's what you think, isn't it? You're allowed to think what you want. It doesn't matter what you think, but you're allowed to think what you want. And I don't have to subscribe to your newsletter of bullshit. But yeah, involuntary celibacy. The thing is, it can get more and more complicated and difficult and sometimes financially more expensive to keep somebody as involuntary celibate. Involuntary celibacy works best on people who are loners and don't have the communication skills to talk their way out of problems, or find a way around them. Like, you know, there are a lot of people who thought, we'll bombard him with stupidity until he becomes stupid, and then we'll win. And, what's left of him we'll throw to a hungry dog or something like that. And it's like, excuse me, I never believed anything you had to say to begin with. And the fact that this is your only form of attack is some stupid ray at me, I find that kind of pathetic. And you're supposed to be educated, superior intelligence, overall better people than someone like myself. And it's like, where's your evidence about that? Because I don't see it. Deductive reasoning. The ability to figure out a problem, understand it, fix it, and, really, like, I don't understand this mentality of letting things fester. A lot of people go, oh, it can't do any harm, let it fester. And it's like, yeah, that's a great idea, let it fester. Don't try and fix it or anything. And, I don't agree with that. I don't have to agree with that. And the problem is, my social media is surrounded by people who have strong opinions about things. And, I can't be held responsible for what they do. What they do is, I'm assuming they're of capable mind and they're able to make decisions on their own and enforce their will if that's what they want to do. How am I to stop them from my position? How is this my fault? How is it my fault if there are a bunch of chicks who are bickering about me, and if I got to know some of them, I wouldn't even like them anyway? How is that my fault? How in the bloody hell is that my fault? I know that's not what some people want to hear. Some people want to hear, oh, he's going to roll over and we can mold him into the, shape we want him to be and the person we want him to be and get him to do the things we want him to do, and we can control him like a marionette. And it's like, yeah, no. I'm not doing things your way. And, I do have the resolution to not put up with it. After everything you've done, I don't trust the world, okay? I have every right not to trust the world. I especially don't trust anyone who tries to assert authority over me. No, that's out the window. If you're not a reasonable person to me, then I'm not going to trust you. And I'm predisposed to not trusting people anyway because there's a lot of reasons not to trust people. And like I said, they could be good people, but they do bad things, and, other people get involved and they do bad things, and it's like, it snowballs. And it's like, again, how in the bloody hell is that my fault? I wish the context of my life was different. I've done everything I can to make it the way I want it to be. Again, a lot of people are going to go, you being who you are and you sitting on your pedestal, you're not allowed to think that, you're not allowed to say that about things, and, if you do, then you're a bad person. And it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to name call me? That's something somebody would do if they were brain deficient. Petty name calling without proof. And going, well, if the person never knows I called them that name, I'm sparing them the humiliation of it, therefore I'm a good person and I can say whatever I want about them. No. You're a shithead. That's what you are. And that could be more damaging than actually someone swearing in your face. I mean, I don't want someone swearing in my face, but I've felt the repercussions of people calling me names behind my back for many, many years, and I'm telling you, that is not better. I've been labeled things that I'm simply not. And, some people would be really bummed out if they're in my position. They go, oh, it's hopeless. Oh, what am I going to do? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Well, actually, things could be better, but they're not bad. There are a lot of things in my life that are going well. Some things I would prefer were in better condition, like my body, for example. My body's taken a toll because of all these medications I've had to take over the years, which was not nice, and they don't want to, do anything about it. They don't want to pretend it never happened. And it's like, no, I distinctly remember all that happening. It's, hell is beyond reason. You can't negotiate with these people. They don't want to hear it. They do not make good people. They make good prisoners of people of the mind. And that's all they're interested in doing because they got a screwed up way of looking at the world. And I've got to tell you, man, those sort of people are the last people who should have any power at all in any circumstance. There's so many despicable people out there who run around and actually have power. And it's like, how the hell did you get power in the first place? You don't deserve it. I mean, look at the messes everywhere. It's repugnant. Anyway, I've prattled on for quite a while, but, there are many, many aspects to involuntary celibacy. And there are many things that people have misconceptions about it. And, people like to pretend that they've got busy lives and blah, 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 and they don't have the time or patience to care. And it wouldn't be advantageous for me to make a 27 plus minute video on the subject. However, you're never going to run into another guy like me ever in your entire life. Whereas I'm going to run into people who are at least as good as you, probably better. And, I don't have to think about you at all. One advantage to being Iron Drac. And again, that's something that some people aren't going to want to hear. They're going to want to hear that, it was all a bad dream for me, and I woke up one day and this was my life, and I accepted it. No, things can always be better. You can always improve, and if you don't like your world around you, then change it. And it's not my immediate world that's the problem. It's, the little deficiencies and lack ofs that are what's bothering me. And I'm not unhappy about it, but I do dislike those things. I dislike that there are psychiatrists out there that want to give me a lobotomy. In essence, they try to, through social communicational ways, inhibiting people from saying what they want to say about me directly to my face. Because there are a number of instances where I go, all right, I pushed the envelope there. Of course I did. Why wouldn't I? See what kind of response I get. And sometimes it doesn't take much at all. Sometimes, people are highly offended and want to be highly offended because it enables them to do whatever it is they want to do. Be the type of person they are because they're sad, lonely, and pathetic. But anyway, so yeah, I pushed the envelope a little bit. And I know there are instances where somebody wanted to say something to me and didn't. And I cannot think of any rational reason for why that would be, other than some authoritative figure told them that they couldn't, and they actually listened to them and obeyed their command. That's beyond the edge of reasoning. That's absurd. But such a power exists in the world. Unbelievable how fragile society really is, that somebody on YouTube could piss off so many people to the extent where essentially they're stomping around having a hissy fit. Whether they acknowledge that to me or not is irrelevant. I know that's what's happening. And I've got a lot of indirect evidence to prove that. So yeah, anyway, I prattled on. I have an early day tomorrow, so cheers, good night, and fuck off.